Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. My name is Christian, this is my wife Joanne, our little kiddos Angela and Leia, and their fur brother Goofio! As an aspiring Disney enthusiast family, this channel hopes to capture my family's adventures and shenanigans. We wanted to document our life and our kids' events as they grow up. I'm all about living in the moment, but if I can capture those moments, it'll check that box when you're feeling nostalgic. So I hope you enjoy our content, hit that like and subscribe button so you can tune in for more of our videos. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Straight and nice and high. I'm the wrestler for Vanessa. We'll be more than happy to help you. Now, Vanessa's also up there to show your exit doors. If you need to leave class for any reason, just give that door on the far right a great big push, just like she's demonstrating there. And it will lead you right back outside to our corner. Now, for any of my new timers here today, you might have noticed that your pencils are missing an eraser. And that's because here at the Academy, we draw in a style called rough sketching. What that means is, we're gonna be starting off by drawing very light and loose, really rough and messy. And then as we start to get in those details, we're gonna go back in later to darken in the lines that we wanna keep. Now with all that being said though, are you folks ready to draw a dog today? Yeah. Excellent. To get us started with our portraits of Goofy, let's start with a basic shape, and the shape's gonna be a circle here. And so right towards the middle of our paper, you wanna draw in a circle. I'd say about the size of a baseball, or even an orange is a good size here as well.
Draw a circle.
And as you can see here, I'm just keeping my circle very light, really rough and sketchy. Just really building up my circle with lots and lots of curved lines. Well, once you've got your shape in place, next steps we need to add in are what we call guidelines to help us place in some of Goofy's features here. And so we're gonna hop to the top of our circle, and just very lightly we're gonna cut our circle right in half, right down the middle here. And this line's just showing us that Goofy's gonna be facing towards us. Then about 2/3 of the way down, towards the bottom of our circle here, you want to lightly stretch across a horizontal guideline. And this line is going to help us in placing in Goofy's eyes. And with those guidelines in place, we do need to add in just a couple more basic shapes to help us out with Goofy's muzzle, his little jowls here. And so we're going to go right below our circle, and for right between our guidelines here on the left-hand side, you want to lightly sketch in this very big oval, really big egg shape here on the left. And as we hop to the right-hand side of our guidelines, add in one more oval on the right. This is going to give us what will look like Mickey doing a handstand here on our paper, and his ears got squished. And this will give us our basic foundation for Goofy, but it looks nothing like it.
It's starting to look like him.
With this foundation in place, first feature we are going to add in for Goofy is going to be his nose here. And so to build up Goofy's nose, we're going to go right between our two ovals, and we're going to sketch in a smaller oval right between those two. And once you've got this really big grape or jelly bean shape of a nose in place, his nose here is going to be the first feature that we want to go back and lock in. Now for any of my new timers here, whenever we say locking in, that's really just a fancy way we like to say, really bold or darken in your favorite lines from those either ones that we started with here. Goofy's nose does rest on his snout, and if we leave his portrait like this here, Goofy's going to look like he ran into a wall. Now, even though that it is in his character, we don't really want that for him here. And so to give him some snout lines, just to show that his nose is coming out towards us,
So pretty.
we're gonna hop right above his nose here, and we're gonna cap this off with a rainbow going right across the top. But since Goofy has a really long snout to him, he actually has two of these snout lines. So once you've got this first one in place, we'll hop above that one and draw in a shorter snout line here. Now from that second snout line that we just sketched in, that's where his cheeks are going to be resting. And so to add in those cheeks for Goofy, we're going to go from the end of our snout line, and from the side of our circle, you want to sketch in this little candy cane. You can also think of this as a little hook shape, a little coffee mug handle here on the side as well. And as we stretch these candy canes from the sides of that circle, you want to hook these candy canes to the top of each oval here. Goofy here is a pretty happy dog most days, and so to build up his smile here, we're going to go right inside of his cheeks. And to give him some little smile lines, we're going to go right to the inside here, and you want to draw in a small little rainbow kind of floating on the inside of the space here. Then from this rainbow, we're going to turn these into some small letter T's by going right below the rainbow, and we're going to bring down just a small little curve, connecting this to the top of each oval here. And from those smile lines, this is where we can darken in the rest of Goofy's jowls, really make this one big shape for him. And so we're going to start just right below his nose here. And we'll lock in that little gap between our two ovals, just turning this into an upside down letter V. Then from the smile lines here, this is where we'll lock in the rest of the oval here on each side. Now what really makes Goofy stand out from the rest of his friends in the Fab Five is that Goofy here is actually the only member that has a child. Does anyone know the name of that child?
What's the name?
Yes, Max. Now the pretty crazy thing about Max, if you really think about it, he's one of the only characters in the Mickey universe who actually ages. If you grew up in the 90s, remember Goof Troop? He started off as a young boy in that series. Then in a Goofy movie, you see Max grown up and go to high school. And in the sequel, an extremely Goofy movie, you see Max grow up and go to college. And so we never see characters like Huey, Dewey, Louie age, only Max. And Goofy is also the only member that has a college degree. Mickey Mouse can't even say that. Now what really makes Goofy Goofy are those buck teeth that he has. And so to place those in, we're gonna go just below his jowls here. And his teeth are just a couple of rounded squares. If you're hungry, you can think of these as marshmallows as well. And really feel free to make his buck teeth really as big as you like. You can make these super huge, just like in a Goofy movie, when Max is having that nightmare that he's turning into his dad. You can make these even tiny as well, but no matter the size, he's still gonna look pretty silly in the end. But once you got those buck teeth in place, to really finish up the lower half of Goofy's head here, we do want to give him his chin next. And so to place in his chin, we're going to go right to the ends of his cheeks here, right where we ended those candy canes. And just very lightly, we're going to bring down this very steep letter U here. And I'm keeping this U shape nice and light as I go right through his jowls, just right through those buck teeth here. And once you got a couple of light lines in place, when it comes to locking in his chin, we're going to keep the lines going through his muzzle and the buck teeth nice and light, and we just lock in this lower portion of our letter U right towards the bottom here. And with his chin in place, the last detail we need to add on to the lower half of Goofy is just a little indentation for his lower lip. And to add that in, you want to go right between his buck teeth here, and just add in this very subtle letter U from right between the teeth. And with that lower lip in place, the hardest part of our drawings are complete, and you all are actually about halfway done with your sketches of Goofy. And so with all the hard stuff out of the way here, this is where we want to work on the most important feature of all for this dog, and that's going to be his eyes. But for Goofy though, he does have these very big expressive eyes to him, and so his eyes are going to be these two tall ovals. And so we're going to go ahead and start towards the top of our circle here, and just right between our center guideline, you want to sketch in the stretched out letter V right towards the top. It's going to look like one of those stick figure birds that you draw on the corners of your papers, the ones that would kind of fly into the sunset. Then to build up the sides of his eyes, we'll go right inside of our circle, and from his cheek here, you want to pull up just this very big letter C, just a really big parenthesis. And to really give ourselves that oval shape, we'll go ahead and blend our curves together to soften this up with a little hill right towards the top here. Now, when it comes to their character designs, Goofy and Pluto are pretty similar, but a big difference between the two is actually in their eyes here. Because Goofy is more of a comedic character and isn't as focused as Pluto has to be, he actually doesn't have this separation between his eyes. And that allows his pupils to bounce around in all of that white space there. But we don't want to leave Goofy like this here, otherwise he's gonna look like he's seen some things. Looking a little spooky here. And so this is where you can get creative with your sketches. You really have Goofy looking any way you'd like. Maybe up, down, cross-eyed. You can add in hearts, stars, maybe a whole scene inside of his eyes there. If you want to keep them nice and classic, just right at the bottom of his eyes, I'm drawing in just a couple of smaller ovals for his pupils. And to even add to his comedic personality, I like to purposely make one pupil a little bit bigger than the other one here too. And since the eyes are really where we as the audience really connect with our characters,
I like that.
I like to go back
pretty.
and push down just a little bit harder on my pencil. And I'll bring all of
Like
that
he's
attention
in love.
is right to the middle of his eyes here. But once you've got Goofy nice and awake, to make him a little bit more expressive, we do want to give our dog some eyebrows next. And for those eyebrows, we're just gonna hop right above his eyes here. And from the top of his eye, we're gonna follow that same curve right above it. And so I'm starting with this left eyebrow, really just pulling up this stretched out rainbow. You can also think of these really as a couple of arches that sit above his eyes here as well. And the taller you draw these above his eyes, the more excited and expressive Goofy's gonna look in your drawings too. Once you got those eyebrows on point, we can also lock in the sides of his head by just picking up our favorite circle line from right between his eyebrows and the tops of his cheeks there. But at the top of his head, he actually does have a couple of hairs that flare up at the top. And so to give Goofy his hair here, you want to go right between his eyebrows, and his hair, just 3 quick flicks of the pencil. So 1, 2, 3, instant haircut. Now he's ready for his L'Oreal commercial.
They want to
So there you folks have it. We've got Goofy the seal.
fast on that last one.
Not so much a dog just yet. Now when it comes to adding in his ears here, he does have these little ear muscles on the sides of his head for where those ears attach to. And so you want to go just right above his cheeks here, and from the side of his head, you want to draw in a small little letter C curve, little bump here on each side. So it's going to look like we're giving Goofy some AirPods here at first. He's probably listening to that new Powerline album. Thank you, few people. We definitely see eye to eye. When it comes to the shapes of his ears, you want to think of these shapes really as a couple of stretched out teardrops or even a necktie as well. Because his ears are going to be wider at the bottom, but get thinner as they get closer to the sides of his head. And you can get creative with his ears. You can have these perking up, or maybe just dropping straight down to the sides here. For me though, I like to give him a little Pocahontas moment. Kind of have his ears flowing in the wind. And so from that ear muscle, I'm just lightly sketching in the stretched out letter S, just to give myself that nice flow to his ear here. But to really build up that teardrop shape from the bottom of my curve here, I'm going to make a little U-turn, making that the widest part and the start to my teardrop. Then from the end of my letter U, as I get right back to the side of his head, I'm just going to make sure that I really taper off this ear, make it nice and thin, the closer and closer I get to that little ear muscle here. Now Goofy here didn't always start as Mickey's best friend that we know and love today. The first short that he debuted in was a short called Mickey's Review. And in this short, he was actually a background character. But Goofy had such an iconic laugh to him that he really captivated the audience during that time. And so Walt decided to have his animators clean up his look back then. And when he debuted in that short though, he actually didn't debut as Goofy. His original name at the time was Dippy Dog. Yeah, Goofy's gone through a lot of name changes over the years. First he was Dippy Dog, then Dippy the Goof, Goofy the Geef. At one point his name was George. And so Walt just decided to name him Goofy. And we actually have a little picture of Goofy back then as well. And so this was Goofy back in 1932. So talk about glow up, right? Once you got those ears in place though, that's also the last step that you need for sketches of this dog here. And so this is the time in your drawings where you want to go back in, do some touch-up work, really darken in any lines that might have faded away in the drawing process that you'd love to stand out nice and dark. If you do want to give him more of his classic look, just so you see him in the parks today, he actually does have some whiskers here, but he actually cleaned these up when he became a father figure to Max. Once you've got all of that in place, really the last mark any artist truly needs to leave on their work before it's complete are going to be your signatures. So make sure you do find a spot somewhere next to your drawing here. And go ahead and sign big and proud, because you have just learned how to draw your very own portrait.
I don't know how to do that.
Goofy.
What?
All
Why you
right,
just
now
do your
the
name?
end. Did you all have fun?
Just write your name.
Yes, that's the most important part about drawing, is really having fun here. But before we say goodbye, I'd love to see all our amazing dogs here today. So we're gonna have a quick little art show. On the count of three, let me all raise your boards high and
Just
proud.
says C and my last name, our last name,
We
Gabriel.
all drew Goofy, but a little differently here. So 1, 2, 3, Goofy, everyone. Let's take a look out here.
Goofy.
Oh my gosh, looking super cute here in my first 2 rows. Isn't that nice? Big happy dogs all around. Look at the googly eyes. Even the stars and eyes there too. Getting really creative. In the middle rows as well. Nice big expressive eyes.
Yeah.
Excellent work with these proportions. You guys definitely captured this likeness. And how we did back rows and CDs.
Yeah.
Look at that nice full line work. Super soft shading.
So
Dare I say,
cool.
this all came out.
Write your name.
Doggone
Just write
today.
your name.
You all definitely passed the class. So give yourselves a round of applause. For the all graduating from the Animation Academy. Congratulations.